Well, hello, it's Miss Gina, and you're at Gina's Planet, and we're going to read, excuse me, Frosty the Snowman. We'll get through it. And Frosty the Snowman over here has a reveal. It's Santa! Santa came down out of the attic. So Frosty the Snowman is a rabbit and a little girl. And is it warm or is it cold there? I see snow. I see earmuffs. I see mittens. I see a jacket and a scarf. I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's cold there. And it was 47 for the high today in Northwest Georgia. And it's supposed to be 27 tonight. And I went for a walk around my yard in my bare feet. And you can see I don't have a sweater on. So somebody's cold is up to them. So somebody might be cold out there. Somebody might be hot. But as long as you're not trying to live out there, just a little bit of it's not that cold. Maybe I was thinking warm thoughts. It was keeping me warm. Frosty the Snowman by Diane Muldrow. Cover illustrated by Robin Cuddy. Interior illustrated by Josie Yee. Yee, that's fun to say. A Little Golden Book. And this one as well is $5 at the Walmart. And it's got some other titles. The Tawny Scrawny Lion, The Shy Little Kitten, Little Red Caboose, Toodle, The Saggy Baggy Elephant, The Pokey Little Puppy, Red Hen, and Scuffy, the tugboat. Scuffy. I usually like to add R's in there that don't belong. But it says Scuffy, not Scruffy, but Scuffy. So, there is our title page. And that was our front cover of our book. This is the spine of our book. It doesn't say anything. It just has little pictures on it. Test my balance. And this was the back cover. And now we're going to read Frosty the Snowman without any further ado. Little Golden Book. It all started with the snow, the first snow of the season. As every child knows, what is there? As every child knows, there is a certain magic to the very first snow. And when it falls on the day before Christmas, something wonderful is bound to happen. I think that's a schoolhouse. Children, back to your seats, called the teacher. The snow can wait. I've hired Professor Hinkle, the magician, to entertain us for our Christmas party. Unfortunately, Professor Hinkle was just about the worst magician in the world. He's a magician that's supposed to entertain the children. But he's not very good. And so I put the eggs into my magic hat, said Professor Hinkle. Abracadabra. And voila, the eggs have turned into a mess. Where is my rabbit? Hocus Pocus, where are you? He didn't know that his rabbit, Hocus Pocus, was hiding in the hat. Oh dear. What a mess. The only thing this hat is good for is the trash can, said Professor Hinkle. But the hat didn't stay in the trash for long. The hat with Hocus Pocus underneath hopped out the door. That was when the bell rang. The children were free for the whole Christmas holiday. They're out for Christmas break. It's Christmas time there. Hey, look at the snow, cried the children as they ran outside. They worked together to build the first snowman of the season. Once the children had given him eyes, a nose, a mouth, and it was time to name him. How about Frosty? Asked Karen. Frosty the Snowman. The children danced around Frosty as they sang about his button nose and his eyes made out of coal. Come back here, you, cried Professor Hinkle, chasing Hocus Pocus. Suddenly, a gust of wind blew the hat onto Frosty's head. Glad they didn't name him Oatmeal. Happy birthday, said the snowman. Karen gasped and said, the hat brought Frosty to life. It must be magic. When Professor Hinkle heard that he wanted the hat back because he thinks it's magic. But it's not yours anymore, protested Karen. This hat will make me a millionaire, said the greedy magician, taking the hat back. Hocus Pocus felt that the hat really did belong to Frosty. So he hopped back to Frosty and the children as fast as he could to return the magic hat. There's the children, and this is Karen, sweet little Karen. I have a friend named Karen. She's very sweet. Hop, hop, hop. There goes Hocus Pocus. There's Mr. Hinkle, the magician, trying to take the hat back. Because now he thinks it's magic, and it will help his hat. Happy birthday, said Frosty, again as soon as the hat was placed on his head. Hey, I said my first words. I'm alive. What a neat thing to happen to a nice guy like me. What a nice thing to happen to a nice guy like me. Happy birthday, said Frosty again. As soon as the hat was what? As soon as the hat was placed on his head. Hey, I said my first words. I'm alive. What a nice thing to happen to a nice guy like me. Here's Frosty. There are the children. The magic had made Frosty dance around. The children cheered as Frosty began to laugh and play with them. There had never been such a wonderful winter. A wonderful winter. When the sun peeked out from behind the clouds, Frosty exclaimed, "Oh, I'm all wishy-washy. I'm starting to melt." The children knew they needed to take Frosty someplace where he'd never melt, like the chilly North Pole. They decided to go to the railroad station and find a train for Frosty. "Let's have a parade through town," shouted Frosty. "Come on, kids, follow the leader. Follow the leader wherever he may go. Do-do-do-do-do-do." All too soon, it was time for the train and Frosty to leave. Oh no, Frosty the Snowman was a happy, jolly soul with a corncob pipe and a button nose and 2 eyes made out of coal. Frosty the Snowman was as live as he could be. Do 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 do. But anyway, it's time for the train. Oh no. All too soon it was time for the train and Frosty to leave. I'll go with you, Frosty, said Karen. I'm sure I'll be back in time for supper. Karen, Frosty, and Hocus Pocus jumped into a refrigerated boxcar on a freight train headed north. No one saw Professor Hinkle sneak under the train car and hold on. Professor Hinkle's underneath. We've got Karen and Hocus Pocus and Frosty. And they're in a refrigerated car. That means it's gonna be cold. A refrigerated boxcar is a splendid way to travel. Splendid, that is, if one is a snowman or a furry-coated rabbit. But for a little girl like Karen, it was just too cold. So when the freight train made a stop, Frosty got them all out. No one saw Professor Hinkle jump off too. Frosty took Karen and Hocus Pocus to a wooded glen where they found animals decorating the trees for their big celebration. They knew Santa Claus was coming that night. After Hocus Pocus spoke to the animals, they agreed to build a campfire to keep Karen warm. But it didn't take long for Professor Hinkle to catch up with the friends. They're decorating for Christmas. Get on my shoulders, Karen, cried Frosty. Frosty, since he was made of snow, was the fastest belly whopper in the world. Soon he and Karen were sliding down a hill, leaving that greedy Professor Hinkle far behind. At the bottom of the hill was a tiny greenhouse for growing tropical poinsettias for Christmas. It was the perfect place for Karen to stay warm. Frosty, you'll melt in here, warned Karen. I'll only stay inside for a minute, Frosty assured her. But that nasty Professor Hinkle caught up with them once again. He locked the door, trapping the friends inside. Belly whopper. Oh no. That night, Hocus Pocus led Santa Claus to the greenhouse to save Frosty. But then, poor Frosty had melted completely. Don't cry, Karen, said Santa kindly. Frosty's not gone for good. You see, he was made out of Christmas snow. You can bet your boots that when a good jolly December wind kisses it, it'll burn into Christmas snow all. It won't burn. It will turn. It will turn into Christmas snow all over again. Just watch. Sarah opened the door, and when the wind whirled in and out, Frosty was back. Santa was about to place the magic hat on Frosty's head when Professor Hinkle shouted, "I want that hat, and I want it now." Santa replied, "If you touch this hat, I'll never bring you another Christmas present. Go home right now and write, 'I am very sorry for what I did to Frosty 100 zillion times.' Then maybe, just maybe, you'll find something in your stocking tomorrow morning." Professor Hinkle was very sorry indeed. He ran straight home to start writing. "Happy birthday," said Frosty once more. Karen was happy to see her friend again, but now it was time to go home. Santa put Karen in his sleigh and promised her that he would take Frosty back to the North Pole with him. Karen hated to say goodbye to Frosty, but Santa said that Frosty could return every year with the magical Christmas snow. Happy birthday. Frosty waved goodbye. As he hurried on his way, he shouted a promise to return the following Christmas, and every year he did just that. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. I don't know why, but my book has blue lines. And he said, Merry Christmas. And he's going to be back next year. And that was the end. That's the back of our book. And we're back to the beginning. Frosty the Snowman. I hope you enjoyed that. I enjoyed watching the cartoon every year when I was a girl. And I've got an attachment to Frosty. I like Frosty. Because he always remembers to tell me, Happy birthday. Because my birthday's in December. And Frosty is always here at Christmas. So, I want you to read more in 2024. There's not much time left. And remember to grow your brain. And you can go back and reread this story. It's probably at your local library. Or you can pick it up at Walmart. $5, little golden book. Maybe somebody will get you this for Christmas. Maybe Santa will bring you a copy. So put it on your list if that's what you want. So I'll see you next time. And you've been at Gina's Planet, and I'm so glad you were. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.